Are you?
The Love Boat.
I learned a lot from watching that show that I didn't know before.
That black people were allowed on boats before 1970.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I
that's a
mean, who
fact. Not
knew?
many people know that. Yeah, you wouldn't with the current political environment. You wouldn't think many people would know that. Yes, you could have black people on cruise ships. This is welcome to the first episode podcast. We decided there's too much good content we're missing when we wait for people to log on. Today it's Don that's running late. So, we'll hit the intro music in a second. Rico's got the Barbara Walters grease filter on his camera, which looks great.
I think it's the glare, the late summer glare coming through my dirty windows.
Oh, maybe. Well,
Yeah.
something's dirty. We know that much.
Yeah.
Something's very
My soul,
very dirty.
my room,
Yeah.
my
Well,
thoughts.
I can't wait to talk about how dirty these people were on this boat. I mean, we'll get to this, but they're just sitting around. There's a whole subplot we'll tell you about involving a porno magazine, which, by the way, I mean, I don't want to give too much away. What a fantastic experience. But there's a whole porno magazine hunt going on, and there's just people sitting around in public just flipping through porno.
Yeah, I'm like, must have been different in the 70s. Like in the 90s, when we would get magazines, it was a lot more discreet, right? You wouldn't just be like on the bus with
pulling every guy who had the porno mag is just like, well, let me just unfold this and make sure everybody knows exactly what I'm looking at. And then you also go like a cartoon fox, awooga.
And at doctor's offices. See, this is what we need to get back to. Before government got into healthcare, you used to be able to smoke in your doctor's office. You could look at naked women in magazines at your doctor's. I think health was much better back then.
You know what? This would be better. Like, so the doctor in the Love Boat, he has a porno mag, which again we'll explain. He has a porno mag just lying open on his desk, and you think, they probably had him in waiting rooms, and it would be great is you could go to a doctor's office and probably gauge how old the magazines were just by looking at the size of the bush. You're like,
well, this was the 70s, doctor, so I would imagine all the bushes were gigantic.
Yeah, but were they through time? Were they gigantic? We need a project. We need a research intern to find out if through time bushes were always huge.
I'm on it. Should we rebrand the show?
The Bush Pod?
The Bush Pod, yeah.
We'll get all sorts of GOPers coming on.
Submit
it's about
your
George
Bush.
Bush's art. Submit your Bush.
All right. Low energy Bush right there.
Let me text Don, like, get the fuck in here. Usually it's you.
30 seconds late.
It's coming up on 2 minutes late.
Holy moly.
And usually he doesn't even have a fucking job right now. What's he doing? What's he doing that he can't be on here exactly on time?
Busy promoting this everywhere podcast.
Probably busy loudly. If there's been a loudly look at porno on a bus or in a doctor's office, I'm sure Don has done it and is currently doing it.
Man on the street looking at porno mags on buses.
Don's audio only. What's happening?
He's looking at porn mags.
No. Why is it not working?
Well, you know what? While you figure that out, I might as well play the intro. Yeah, first episode podcast here. Rico, me, Brian, Donnie, trying to figure out the inputs and the outputs and how to connect this computer.
Yeah, I need to redo that. Maybe next Christmas, that snowball in the face.
We said we got to do it for like a summer edition, and I meant to do it at the water park, but it was just too hard to do because my children were being such assholes.
I have a hilarious thought right now for a fall edition one, but I'm not going to share it with you.
I like it.
Just do it.
Keep it a secret,
and you will laugh. And laugh. It'll be disgusting
so.
For me. But
I hope it's you ordering a beer at the Browns game and somebody just throwing a cup of beer right in your face. That would also be fun.
I don't know why anyone would do that. The beers are very expensive these days.
Maybe it's a spit cup.
That would be even worse.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, entertaining for me. Well, as we wait for Don to come up here, I have heartbreaking news, man. I don't know if you saw this. My brother-in-law Steven sent me this. Oh, so hold on.
Joe Biden finally drop out of the race
no. Sadly enough, he's still
after naming Trump his vice president.
Clings to life, that man. Yeah, that was the funniest part of tonight. So we're recording this right after Joe Biden's press conference, where he was like, my vice president Donald Trump, I wouldn't have picked her if she wasn't the perfect vice president.
Was that funnier than him introducing President Putin of Ukraine?
No, that's so great. It's just classic Benny Hill.
He won my vote. I don't know what the Democrats are doing. Sold me. 4 more years of this, please.
It is bonkers that he is not a character straight out of literally a sitcom from the 80s. Like everything he does is an 80s sitcom president. Like it's like Jimmy Carter when they used to spoof on SNL. It's amazing. Okay, but on to the truly terrible news. Unfortunately, this image is very small. Maybe I'll stop sharing it. Yeah, it's too small. But Alf star Benji Gregory.
Oh, I did see that.
Dead at 46.
I had to call off work today, actually.
Yeah, Alf related. What my company actually gives me. I never had to use it before. At least one day every year, Alf related sick days. that could be just a visitor from Melmac. That could be that I ate a cat. It's whatever Alf related holiday you want to take, but I get one day a year, and I took it off. I took it off today.
I mean, that's what I've been pushing for in all my union membership drives. Never getting the support I thought I would. I'm like, you don't want Alf days?
Yeah, come on. Alf is all of us. And what a work should be. I mean, he puts in the hard hours, right? Hunting cats, making jokes, building spaceships. He puts the hours in. It's time to Alf off now. Which
I like that term. I think I'm going to start using it and make it part of the lexicon of the city.
Yeah, Alf off.
Yeah, Alf off. And it's a good thing, not a bad thing.
No, it's a good thing. Okay, what are you, alfing off today? And you're like, hey,
you know
of course I am. All right, so that was one piece of sad news. 46. I'm not going to say distinctly it's drugs, but I'm going to guess drugs. But I don't know for sure. It could have been COVID.
Is that what we're going to be saying in 2 years for you? When we do the memorial for you?
Would you even hold? Would you even hold a memorial for me? Or would it be something like, like when a pet dies, you just kind of flush me down the toilet?
I would burn your body before Sandy's tears are off her face. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm cremating the body, of course.
Literally. Yeah, he's dead. I'm like, it's like bring out your dead Monty Python.
Still crying about this?
I'm still alive. Rico just lights the match.
Not now. You're not, sucker.
Don's still trying to reconnect. I am confused. I feel like I should call. Should I call him in live, walk him through this over the phone?
I mean, does he not know how to use the internet? Because what does he have to do? He has to click on the link.
Well, you have to turn a computer on. You have to click a video button for a camera. You have to plug a microphone in. Don, are you there in audio only version still?
Yeah, for some reason, maybe the heat wave has killed my camera. I don't know what's going on.
The heat wave has killed your camera?
Yeah,
are you sure it's not that your wife caught you diddling yourself to cam girls and smashed it on the floor?
No, that hasn't happened recently. That was a long time ago. Next question.
They forgive, but they don't forget. Well, yep, you probably heard Alf Star, the young boy from Alf, who was aghast at seeing an alien and then somehow not surprised at the same time, just became best friends with him immediately. Mm-hmm. He's dead.
Oh,
I'm gonna say space AIDS. That's gonna be my guess. Actually, space AIDS.
No, it's not space AIDS. It's there's a lot of chemicals that they used to make the Alf puppet, and he had to inhale a lot of those. And
what do you mean puppet?
Yeah,
don't break the fourth wall.
I mean the Alpha alien. He's got a lot of chemicals.
For his hair.
Yeah, right. It's chemical Alf hair.
Makes more sense.
It makes you have cancer.
Is that what killed Jim Henson?
What
They
killed
said
his
it was
ass?
spinal meningitis, but it was probably really Muppet cancer, like some sort of Muppet related
Man, Alf injected
amoebas.
him with some spinal shit. That's pretty crazy.
It's
Alf's a murderer.
And then also, by the way, some good news. Since that was the bad news, here's the good news: is that they did a study. Scientists did a study, and this is at the Canadian Institute for Substance Use, and they found that guess what? You can drink. Jesus, Don. All right, let me mute
Maybe
him.
he should get out of the subway tunnel he's in. It might help his connection.
Christ, I muted you, Don. That was horrible to listen to. So they did a study, and it found that you can drink 1 to 2 drinks a night, but there are health trade-offs. You will die earlier. Do you want to know what the trade-off is?
Yeah, what's the downside?
2 months. That's they did a whole study. You drink 2 drinks a night, and they're like, you may shorten your life 2 months. If anything, I'm not drinking enough every night then. Like, who the fuck cares? 2 months? Who gives a shit?
I'd like to see the parameters of this study, how exactly they figure that out.
I don't know, man.
We're gonna follow these
I don't.
twins from birth.
You drink
one's
2
gonna drink,
drinks.
the other's not gonna drink at all.
I don't want to see that. I'm just going to trust it blindly. Usually, I'm skeptical. You know, I want to see I want to see the measurement. And this one, no, 100% believe it, no problem. It's like if science, figured out some study that was like, if you have sex with prostitutes once a month, you'll live 5 more years. They'd be like, I don't need to know what went into it. I believe it completely.
I accept this at face value.
Yeah, Don's back. Welcome back, Don. Don, can you talk to us? Talk to me, Goose.
Are you back? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
This is terrible.
Yeah, you are pretty terrible.
And not just the normal terrible that our show is.
No, this is much worse terrible. Well, I don't know, man. Check your input outputs, but whatever. We could function. Just audio's fine. And he's gone again. Excellent. All right. This show's off to a great start. All right. Well, let's move on. All right. Let's talk about America's Sweethearts first. Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. Well, look. Let's talk about what it is. It's basically just a Netflix retread of a show that's been on, right? It's been on CMT or some bullshit forever.
It's just that's because they showed, like, on 2018, they had footage.
Yeah.
Hold on.
All right. Yeah, excellent. Now Rico's not talking to his mic. Well, this is a fun episode. Welcome to the No Good Audio podcast. So, yeah, this is a show that. All right, this is a show. It was on CMT or some bullshit. It was like called Making the Team. It's Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders who are hot as shit. I'm not going to take that away from them.
Woo!
They're hot as fuck. They're all gorgeous. They're all very insecure, which is fantastic because you can neg them all day to get them in the sack. That's all great. The problem is that, well, 2 things. Here's my first problem with the show. Number 1, they have all these hot Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and they're showing them all right through the history of the Dallas Cowboys. They're like, look at all these hot cheerleaders. Then they cut to Dolly Parton's 80-year-old ass in a Dallas Cowboys costume, and that killed my boner immediately. There needs to be a trigger warning if you're going to do that before the show. Like with old racist crap where they're like, hey, you might see some crows that those are an allegory for black people. They should tell you up front when the show starts, you might accidentally see an 80-year-old Dolly Parton in a Dallas Cowboys outfit.
Can you hear me? What you're saying is it's like suggestive jack-off material.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me? Yeah, this is hard.
It's ground control to Major John.
If you're gonna masturbate, don't do it.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Give me a heads up. I'm watching this show to see hot, tight, young bods, and then they just wedge a Dolly Parton in there and her fucking goblin freak face.
I like
thank you.
Though. If you're like, hey, you turn it on a nice video for some jack-off material, and they go, warning, there's going to be an old school face
Yeah.
Be prepared to finish with an old lady face.
There's a boner killer 45
I know,
seconds into this episode.
I'm thinking that the jack off material goes, okay, I'm into this. Like, I just gotta wait. I gotta hold out until the old lady face. Okay, I can do this. It's like
speaking of jerking off.
Productions.
Well, speaking of jerking off, like I'm sure you can jerk off to the show. The one part of the show there's all these gals right trying out, and we'll talk about how it must have been an amazing time in the 70s and 80s to have these. They said 2000. Well, we'll just talk about it now.
They didn't have bras back then.
They didn't have any reservations about having sex with executives back then either. That's what I'm saying. What a wonderful time to be a Dallas Cowboys executive.
I know. How did Jerry Jones get the Cowboys for so cheap? People were not good at business.
He has a huge wiener.
He just flopped it on the table.
So why do you think the Cowboys?
I got a dick as big as my teeth.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
So his daughter, right, runs the basically is in charge.
She runs the I don't know, the operations. She's not in charge of the Cowboys. He's still the GM.
No, I mean the cheerleader operation.
The cheerleader.
His son, I think his son right now is basically kind of taking over for his dad a little bit of running
Goofy
the actual,
Jones.
Yeah,
I kind of like
football
this
organization.
format.
Wouldn't you like switch? Like, nah, Dad, I got the cheerleaders. You can ask.
Yeah. Right? Well,
Sally over here to be your new GM, whatever.
That was Dan Snyder's.
You want me to scout players or scout dancers?
All right, what, Don?
Oh, the cheerleader, it seems like that's a really good business angle because then you could put cheerleaders where you want them, and everybody wants cheerleaders in places. So
how about the part of the show where his daughter was like, well, we put this broad, it's like two older cheerleaders. They put them in charge of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and they are mean as shit, which was very entertaining. They're like this girl. She's like, you're like, nope, ape face, nope, floppy labia. I was like, this part I could get by. This should be the whole show. I would watch this if it was the whole show. I'd watch it.
They're basically like Donald Trump when he used to go on Stern and do the beauty pageant. Did you ever listen to those segments?
Yeah.
It's like, stuff like Miss America, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. Her nipples shooting a little bit true north. Yeah, not a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader standard. So, but it's funny, like they put these two older cheerleaders who are on the team in charge of the Cowboys cheerleaders, and they like vet all the girls. But the daughter of Jerry, she's like, well, the cheerleaders, they weren't making money for a while, and then they told a story about a GM who they didn't say his name, give the guy credit, who was like, you know what we're not going to do? Have doofy high school co-ed teams be our cheerleaders. We're going to make them hot 18-year-olds and put them in skimpy outfits. What a genius. Say his name. Say the man's name. Give him credit. I don't even know who this genius was. I want to go to his tombstone and put flowers on it.
His name was Hugh Hefner.
Drew Hefner.
How did everyone
Playboy King.
What was wrong with people back then?
It was a pruder time. There was only anal sex until marriage. You know the ways, Rico.
Let's wrap up this show because the opposite of this is the other show we watched.
Well, we're gonna get to that. So, all right. So getting back to my point.
Done with this show in 20 minutes, apparently.
So I don't know why. It's this brilliant man is like, sex sells. What are you people, idiots? So anyway, fast forward. These two broads are cheerleaders, and then they get to take over the cheerleading team. And Jerry Jones' daughter was like, so anyway, we give her control of these cheerleaders, and she had the greatest idea to do a calendar. And I'm like, give her the fucking Nobel Prize. Was she the first person to think about putting hot chicks in a calendar ever? Yeah. I'm pretty sure those existed in the 30s. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
I guess you went
None
to
of you
Hooters.
morons thought of this before?
As soon as calendars were invented, someone's like, put a hot chick. They probably did that in the Middle Ages.
I'm sure they did. I guarantee there's a cave painting of tits and sky, moon, bear, whatever their timetables were.
A naked chick with some swords, and that'd be pretty cool. Yeah,
I think the Japanese, when they eat sushi off a naked chick, I'm pretty sure that was their calendar. They're like, when the sushi got past the navel into pubic hair is fall. Yeah, that sounded more like a Native American than a Japanese. But
did they?
Well, You've never
sushi
been
with
to either
pubic
place.
hair, I would have thought that. Well, see, the Japanese are, not a hairy people to begin with. So
No.
they have that advantage.
Smooth like seals.
Thank God.
So,
for those
okay, so
Wait, we got to give a good laugh. Let everybody let's soak that in. That you guys made a good joke about Asian pubic hair. Put that in.
Is there any bad joke
It's in
about
our
Asian pubic hair?
contracts.
I've never heard one. I've never heard a bad Asian pubic
To
hair
our
joke.
Asian female fans, these boys are available for dating.
It's all of our current watchers. So anyway, the story of the Cheerleaders. So they build them up, and then this big thing. Everybody knows them. They are awesome. They are hot. It's the only good thing about Dallas. I mean, Dallas sucks. They can't win a playoff game in the playoffs. They blow shit, and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders is probably the only thing keeping their fan base from.
I love how you
suicide.
just have to get a shot in on the football.
I know, and then,
I'm just stating facts. Am I stating facts, or what am I? I'm just telling you the facts. You be the judge.
I'm also sick of the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys always playing for a divisional spot too. It's pretty annoying. And then and then both teams suck and lose.
Well, I mean, the Chargers. So who do you even? Oh, are you Seahawks now? Well, this isn't a sports podcast.
No.
Stay on target.
Tune in for our next blog for our sports around the horn.
Sportscast. So at one point they were saying 2,000 cheerleaders or 2,000 wannabes showed up, and this is the 70s and 80s.
They do. This is a dance competition. They love it.
This year they said a couple hundred. They had 2,000, and all I'm thinking, this is the 70s. They're like, all they would do is play disco music, and we just get up and dance around. I'm like, and then they did blow off your cooches.
Yeah, I know
for sure. That's who made the team, 100%. Oh, what a time to be alive. Oh man, awesome.
That's not the melody from Hot Stuff is all I think of when there's
Hot Stuff.
Yeah,
Hot Stuff, baby.
Yeah. Disco hotties and dudes taking advantage of it. I'm like, yeah, you should dance and be all sexy.
Use drugs and dance and then get naked.
Well, that's at that point in time. Do you think any of them even knew how to be cheerleaders? They were just like, whoever's dancing, whoever's fucking.
They just did shook their tits and waved pom poms. Like, wow, you're amazing.
Oh my
It's the best cheerleader I've ever seen. I would argue the cheerleading's gotten too athletic. Rein in the athleticism in cheerleading. Bring back the old days.
This is the problem. Every guy wants to just see a girl with her boobs out, pom poms, and just wave them around and just be excited about anything. And you could say, "Hey, do you want some? You want some hamburgers?" And just
The McRib is back.
Yes, we are so easy to please that the Dallas Cowboys figured out a way to get more bros to pay for football.
Yeah, they did. Yep, they did. Well, do you think, look, they went into a big thing about how the Dallas Cowboys are like, look, the cheerleaders are a big part of the brand, which they are, right? Do you think, and I say the answer is yes, do you think that Jerry Jones hunts any ugly cheerleaders that come in? Like Dallas Stadium's massive. You could easily make that into a maze. You tell the losers, you tell the uglies, you're eliminated. Then the iron gates come down. Then Jerry turns the lights out, except for maybe a couple strobes, and it's hunting time. Because if those uglies get those, you can't even see that. You can't even have the uglies leave the stadium. That's bad for the Dallas Cowboys brand. I think he hunts them.
Surviving the game.
He doesn't need to have a special area. He could just turn the whole stadium.
That's what I mean.
Switch, and then it turns into the
Texas chili.
Yeah, and then he's the Minotaur. He's the Minotaur in the middle, and all the girls have to run through the stage.
They have hidden bars in the bowels of that stadium.
No, I didn't. Have you you been there? Oh, you were there for WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, and we had the floor seats, and so we're wandering around looking for the bathroom, and we open a door, and it's a huge bar with hundreds of people. We're like, what's going on? There's wrestlers hanging out at the bar, people doing drugs in the bathroom.
And so you never left, I presume.
Yeah, we did miss a lot.
You must have had good seats because you were able to get to the better seats.
Yeah,
with the door.
It was amazing. I didn't want to leave.
Yeah,
it was awesome. Except every time I went to take a dump, a ghost of a hunted cheerleader kept haunting me, Harry Potter and Moaning Myrtle.
Yep.
All right, so moving on. They
Well, you didn't talk about one character in this show.
well, no. I mean, moving on within this show, not moving on to the next show. Go ahead.
Oh, and I
God
don't know
forbid
why
we
you
move on to
haven't
the next show.
plugged yourself as this
Yeah.
thought leader, right?
Yes.
Is that his name? Or his title? Thought leader.
Yeah.
Basically, he's a wannabe influencer who somehow gets to be a judge
I
and
know,
who
what
gets
the
to be a
fuck?
cheerleader.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Also, a gay meteorologist.
Yeah, you can't be.
What?
you
I'm
gotta
talking about
have
the worst
gay people.
person to choose anything.
No, you got to
What do
have gay people be in beauty pageant.
If you're a
judges.
eunuch or a gay, you could be around
Or a
women
gay.
that are naked. That's it. There's no there's no like good job where you go, man, I love masturbating and I'm gonna go work at a place where there's a bunch of hot chicks. Doesn't exist.
Well, those are your rest stop.
Challenge accepted, Don. Challenge accepted.
Oh, man.
I think,
that's
your
your job-
goals.
Here's my CV.
Good luck.
Love jerking off. Love hot chicks. You just drop it on the desk. All right,
It's a
sir.
great
This is a J.C. Penney's. I know.
Good
Have you
job.
seen these
Yeah.
mannequins? They've got nips like Batman and the Clooney one.
Ryan, we're gonna have to have a conversation. There's another guy, a little younger than you, who's dropping fatter loads. So
It's like the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Just because you're good one season doesn't mean you're going to make it the next.
I'm the veteran that's coming all over the mannequins at
you're
J.C.
like,
Penney.
"Oh, man."
They're like, "Well, you're gonna have to re-audition." I'm like, "What is this bullshit?"
You're like, can I coach the guys? No, you can't coach them.
Oh my
I feel like I'm at a disadvantage having dropped nuts on so many mannequins at J.C. Penney's, and these upstarts, they're just coming nutting on everything's fresh and.
I mean, those upstarts, they're good. They're jacking off to tranny.
Tranny mannequins, the Trannikins.
If I ever somehow lost.
That's it. Wait a minute. Boring
Because of this
podcast. Wait a
podcast.
minute. Hold on. Hold on.
Trannikin.
Another a boring podcast original idea. I should say first episode podcast, Trannikins. Let's
Trannikins.
trademark it. Let's make them. Tranny mannequins.
I love it.
You can mix and match the tops and the bottoms to make whatever
It's
you
like
want.
a Mr. Potato Head where it has parts
The
you
genitals.
put on or off.
Oh man,
It's got dicks, coming out of its shoulder blades. Take this, Paris fashion show.
Yeah, it's like
You
oh,
could probably make that a toy and
wiener.
sell it to these,
100%.
people.
Trannikin.
Gender is Mr. Gender is a construct. You can construct your own gender, literally.
And so is the Trannikin because you build them from
Trannikin.
pieces. Here's the legs, the torso, and you just put the wiener that you want. Chick
Oh.
wiener, boy wiener.
Speaking of jerking off, so one
this whole
place.
show
No one
is-
is speaking
My
of
No. There's one part in this show I guarantee that is getting more jerked off to than any other part, and it's the part just because people are sick perverts, and I know how porn is these days.
Oh yeah.
There's a scene where there's like a mom who was a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader in like '89, and she has a daughter who looks 40 but says she's 23. That's apparently been on the team for 4 seasons despite her fug face. She's massaging her daughter who's lying flat on the floor, and the daughter's like, "Mommy, massage my butt," and she's like, "Okay," and then she's like, "I have to toot," and she farts as the mom's massaging her butt. That, I promise, is the most jerked off part of the entire episode. I would bet $1 million on it.
Brian rubbed out a load. We know.
He can
Nope.
sell those parts.
Oh yeah,
If she was smart.
that's big money. But you might give yourself a heart attack by trying to fart too much. If
Like I had
If you
to
recall.
retire from cheerleading because I'm selling parts.
I'm into the scene before.
Sometimes
the
you got to think
farting,
about
like,
providing for your family.
I love the mom rubbing the girl, saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is good," and then
exactly.
and then I show up, and they're like, "Yeah, this is how you treat this guy this way, and it'll be nice."
And then
I
you
was like,
both
"Thanks,
inhale the
Mom and
farts?"
daughter. Yes, but there's no farting. It's just
Well-
it's normal, disgusting sex stuff that I like.
Well, but to Rico's point here, this chick, just from that scene alone, could 100% sell farts and make $150,000 a year like the chick from 90 Day Fiance. That's like with this whole scene, they did this emotional thing where like, what are they, these cheerleaders don't get paid much. And the one chick, she's like, I think I get paid as much as a a teacher. And then she's like, no, I mean a Chick-fil-A person.
Yeah,
Like,
I saw that. That was awesome.
Look,
that was my
if
number
you're
one
too-
question. Like watching the show is like, how much do they get paid?
well, it's not. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's half of it is like you want to do it because you are the center of the universe. But if you are too fucking stupid to make money in 2024, if you can't make $1 million a year in 2024 as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, either actively, right? Like you're working, you're doing signings. I'm sure they're permitted to do signings and events and promotional things that go to nightclubs and get paid for it. That I'm sure is legal. If you get cut after 2 years, guess what? Sell farts for $150,000 a year, or here you go, OnlyFans. Now you're a millionaire.
Brian,
You're
I
a
don't
millionaire
think that-
tomorrow. Overnight, you're a millionaire. So shut the fuck up. I have no pity for you and your choices
No.
you've made to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. Like, shut the fuck up. It's ridiculous.
The women that coach them and control them don't make $1 million a year. This is
I bet they make a hefty sum.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing at least mid 6-figure incomes, like 400,000 a year is my guess. The Cowboys cheerleaders bring in so much money, man, for that team.
Yeah,
I don't think
for
so.
sure.
I think the team makes money because it's a team. The girls are a thing that are fun.
Dude,
they
if
have-
you're
You said
if
the
you're
management,
running
though.
a division that's responsible for $1 million in gross income, they're not just gonna hire some fucking dipshit and
Right.
pay him, $50,000. They're paying people to maximize the income that's coming in. So you're gonna get someone smart, and you're gonna have to pay for it, which is fine.
Yeah. And these chicks are mean. They know what they're doing. They seem to be running a tight ship, literally,
No,
figuratively.
and then keeping that bottom line is though you get those girls that come in, they're auditioning for essentially plays, and then you pay them the minimum scale, and then you can continue to make the high dollar based on the women that are coming in to
Our
perform,
economics
because there's-
podcast.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah,
well.
I think we all know how it works, buddy.
Oh, one of the other obvious things was there was a woman that had to be a nurse at the same time that she was the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
And she is hot.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm guessing she's going to
This
make the team
girl
because
worked
she
so
was
hard
hot. But
to get
then
to
she said she was bad at kicking.
bad at kicking, but
And
she's
one
good at
weakness as a
stabbing.
cheerleader.
She's good at putting band-aids on and stabbing you.
Yeah, it was funny though. They did this whole thing. Like they had a scene where the girls all did a little dance, and that I watched that part. I fast forward through a lot of it. Honestly, halfway through the show, I was like, "Holy fuck, am I
Very
bored?"
bored. Yeah.
So
It
bored.
is very, yeah,
So
Yeah.
bored.
yeah. Well,
I mean, I'm
said
sure
that-
it's good if you're like into dancing, but I didn't really feel like making fun of these people because they're pursuing a dream, good for them, blah blah blah. It's
Yeah,
not
they-
particularly
they
something
should
I
have-
care about.
They should have more.
It seemed nice enough.
resources.
Well,
The Dallas Cowboys make a ton of money. They suck, right? They don't. Go
Yeah,
to
they do
the Super
suck.
Bowl. Yeah.
No.
So put some more money into your dancer category, and then don't make the girls feel like they're in their pageants again, like they were when they were children. But they don't care. It's not about elevating women that perform. It's just
Thanks, Don.
Is
Thanks.
Don
Thank-
going on a,
is Don not? Is
societal
Don not on?
rant?
Yeah, is Don not on video because he's been replaced with a fucking women's rights lib major at Vassar?
yeah, it's 10th wave feminism coming at you.
Don, hey
wonder
Don,
if
don't shave your legs of your bush, buddy. That's caving to the patriarchy.
Now, do
I
they
have-
have agents? Do you think?
I didn't know I had
Oh,
a
I
voice.
bet.
They better.
Dude,
Now we
you're
should
fucking. You
solicit.
definitely have a bush. If there's one man in the world I know is a bush, it's you.
Yeah, it's like my hair, my face.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
But-
shit.
It's my
But
hair.
still,
Oh,
let's not be silly about it. I mean, this is a fun. We have a great football team. That's what it's all about. It's about the football team. And then the football team goes, let's throw some bones to the cheerleaders. And then all of a sudden the cheerleaders are something. No, they're nothing. They're just
No.
women
Well,
that
they're
dance around at the games. And you
Yeah.
that's
That's
it.
what they are, exactly. Yes, that's what they are. They are chicks who
Don
dance around the
explains
games.
what cheerleaders are.
Thank
Don,
you,
we're gonna
Don.
need you to be on video from now on.
Yeah, yeah.
Don's busy doing lithium and fucking God knows what else. Dropping these heavy life bombs on us.
Yeah.
So yeah, the cheerleaders are hot chicks that dance around. Thank you, Don. I like that one, but they're like, well, we want to hear about their education. I'm like, dance education? I hope. Like, what are you talking? She's like, I'm a theoretical physicist. Cool. Shake them knockers, baby. Let's go. Let's see it. Can you touch your nose with your foot? Like, who the fuck cares?
Oh, I'm now a Cowboys fan because of how you guys treat your cheerleaders. This is nonsense. It's silly.
Well, yeah, it is nonsense. Well, they made them, if anything, they made the cheerleaders sympathetic. Like, they're not getting treated well enough. But like we're saying, if you can't make money off this, you're a fucking moron.
It makes me hate them more and dislike the Cowboys more.
Yeah, well, I'm all for that. 100%.
Yeah, do you like the Cowboys more after this or less?
I like the Cowboys. I think I actually like the Cowboys more, knowing that one of their GMs, unnamed GM back in the day, was like, "Give me the tits, get rid of the gay high schoolers, let's go."
I like
you
that.
know.
Yeah. So you go with the realism. What about you, Rico?
Yeah.
What do you like?
Well, I liked. I was kind of neutral on how much I like the Cowboys or don't like the Cowboys with this show, but I just liked the part where they're like, to the cheerleaders, like, you have to represent our brand in a positive way. And I'm thinking, like,
that's gross.
Biggest things the Cowboys are known for, or maybe at least to me, is like their partying in the 90s where they had the White House when they're all on drugs. And I'm like, that's when they were the best. And they openly talked about it. So, like,
and since then, all they do is
are you talking about?
And since then, they've hired like wife beaters and people that are like arrested for domestic violence, like Anthony Gregory or something like that. Like, they hired some guy. He literally was suspended for like beating the shit out of his wife. And the Cowboys were like, take him. He's still good.
He had us 10 sacks.
Yeah, and he didn't even do that.
This could be why that show is why it's even produced, to make the Dallas Cowboys seem less disgusting than they are.
Well, I'm sure it is. Well, I'm sure it's produced to make the money. That's why it's produced.
And they're like, the cheerleaders are nice people. They're not raped over and over and over again.
PSA. Don should do the Dallas Cowboys PSAs in the marketplace.
Here comes the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders who are not raped today.
Repeatedly not raped. Not anymore.
Now,
Not since the 80s.
I did watch a few episodes past that, and they brought...
Why do you do this? What is wrong with you? I couldn't barely make it through this one episode of this fucking show.
I'll tell you why.
Stop after 10 minutes. I looked.
They brought Emmett Smith.
Don was waiting for that one chick to fart in her mom again so he could finally come.
I was waiting for her to fart in a cake.
And pop a balloon by sitting on it.
No, but Emmett Smith does show up. And it's funny to watch him.
He's like, we still raping? They're like, no, and he's like, damn.
Yeah. And
I got to go to the Reds. I'm off to the Redskins.
They use that as a way to explain the whole premise that these women should still exist. It's very odd. It's a very mean thing.
Wait, how do they, please explain how Emmett Smith appearing was used to justify the existence of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders? I got to know.
Because he shows up. And he talks about how he had a great life. And then his daughter now works for the organization. And I think she's part of the cowboy cheerleader squad as far as how they
nepotism.
She got a job.
She's the Bronny James. She's the Bronny James of choosing hot chicks. She can't even do that, right? She's choosing all like the ugliest women, like Bronny James, putting 3 points up again.
Emmett Smith goes, "We're choosing hot chicks in a different way," and you go, "Okay, great, thanks, Emmett." And he goes, "My daughter works here too now."
Do you remember how amazing Emmett Smith was as a broadcast announcer? Because he would say the wrong word all the time. He'd be like, he really nerfed a couple dance thing, and you're like, what? He's like, wow, that quarterback dropped expeditiously. You know, it's like whatever the like Mary Poppins terms are. He would constantly sub in the wrong word. I'd say 50% of the time.
I think we're finding out that a lot of people in the media sphere do not have brains, and there's a lot of people behind them that make them say the weird shit that you say.
Now he's getting political again.
Conspiracy. Now this is going to conspiracy talk. You think they took Emmett Smith out at the knees because he was too powerful of a presence. They fed him that. The producer's like, Emmett, it's not pronounced Joe Theismann. It's pronounced Joe Theismakens. And he's like, all right, I got it. Thank you.
Sure.
I didn't really have anywhere to go with that.
No, you went somewhere though. We love that.
I did go. I always go somewhere. All right. Well, wrapping this show up. I thought it was boring as hell. It's another generic whatever the fuck show. The chicks are the hottest chicks I've seen probably on any reality show. I'll give it that. I mean, there were some knockout, just like that redhead Claire. Like, Jesus Christ. Knockouts, but boring. It's
super
boring
dancers. Yeah, these are the hotties of the hotties.
It's so boring though. I could never watch another episode.
Yeah,
I watched it with the I read the words instead of listening.
Oh, did you read that? You read the book. You read the book first. Is the book better?
Yeah, it was actually watchable.
Oh, Don.
Emotions, sir.
I think it's because Don smokes pot and Rico and I don't smoke pot. I think that's the difference in a lot of these analyses.
Must be. Because I don't know what Don's talking about here. Completely. One of us has lost the plot.
Don's like, I read every episode description, so I knew the plot going in. It's like Game of Thrones.
I did read
right. Moving on for real.
All right. I gotta say though, we spent 40 minutes on the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader show.
Well, we spent 10 minutes waiting for you to figure what the fuck you were doing out with your video and audio, talking about the kid from Alf dying. Rest in peace.
I almost bailed. I almost said I'm done, and I was gonna close it and go watch
another episode of America's Sweethearts.
No, I got an episode of The Mayor to watch, which I love.
So much
all right.
TV.
Well, all right. Let's get on to The Love Boat.
So we have to give this a grade.
Oh yeah, let's grade it. Go ahead, Rico.
What do we do? It's like
A to F. A to F.
It's like a D+.
All right, Don, your thoughts?
Oh, this show was terrible. This was awful.
Yet you watched 17 episodes of it.
Do not watch.
And he's commenting on IMDb. He's writing recaps.
Follow me on IMDb.
Don's also probably watching terrible mother-daughter fart porn, and he's like, "This is awful." Just putting every one of them commentary.
It's
terrible. Do not recommend.
Fart cake porn.
Fart cake porn. All right, what do you give it, Don?
I'd watch it again. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
A reality
You just said it was terrible.
Again.
You just said it was terrible.
Oh, but there's these chicks are hot and they're dancing around. Like, how can you not want to watch that? These are the hotties dancing around. I don't care what they're saying, but I would totally watch them. I wouldn't do stuff. I would do other things as they're on, like maybe a puzzle.
Masturbate.
Yeah. No, you couldn't masturbate with them. It'd be hard. But I'd let them on, and then I'd maybe do a puzzle or maybe clean the house. Yeah.
Don's just America's Sweethearts. This doesn't make any sense. If you're doing a puzzle, you're not even looking at the TV. You're like, I gotta put this penguin nose. You're not looking at the hot chicks on the TV. You're just listening to it, which is the worst part of it.
Well, they're not gonna say a lot of stuff in a lot of minutes. So you glance, and then 10 minutes.
They don't.
By, and then you go, okay. The girl's mad, and then you look up again 10 minutes later and go, okay, the girl's less mad, and then she's dancing. You just have it on. It's fine. You just do a puzzle, you watch it.
I haven't done a puzzle in 40 years, approximately. Since you could hold the pieces with the handles, and I outgrew those.
Thanks, Rico. I guess we're not getting Big Puzzle as a sponsor anymore.
I was gonna 40-year puzzle. We're gonna get that. We're gonna do it. That's gonna be our
Puzzle addicts.
People watching puzzles.
We should make a puzzle where you could build a body, but the jigsaw piece is interchangeable with the vaginas and the penises and the boobs, just like with our idea for the Trannikins.
Brian just described a sex doll.
Yeah, Basically. All right, so moving on to the Love Boat. The Love Boat. The Love Boat. Look, the
I
Love
like
Boat.
it. Love Boat was so.
It's exciting
weird
and new.
show.
Well, it's exciting and it was new to me.
Soon
It's
we'll
great.
be taking a tour. as they
Yeah.
say.
Dude, it was just starting from the theme song. It was awesome. I
loved it.
loved every second of the Love Boat. It was
weird.
fantastic.
I was expecting a lot more, like, I'd say back and forth dialogue, but it was a real exciting drama style where it just kind of prolonged itself.
Well, it was lighthearted narrative drama. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of like quippy back and forth. It was less it had some sitcom lines in it that were funny.
Right.
Like the Doctor had some great lines, and also the plot centers around two things in this pilot episode. The captain has this crazy bitch come on board, and her husband, who never talks to the last scene of the show, and she's just a crazy bitch. And everybody's like, "Why is this bitch such a bitch?" But she's like a VIP. And you find out later on that it's the captain's ex, right? So that's one plot line, is her driving the crew crazy.
And she's married to like the director of the guy that owns the cruise.
Right, yeah. Who doesn't say a word until the very end. He just sits there smoking a pipe and with a mustache. Then the other plot is that the dude from, was it All in the Family, that goes, Dynamite!
Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker. Jimmy Walker's in it. Oh, it's also Suzanne Summers. So it's got a lot of people you recognize when they're young. You're like, holy shit, that's a really young Suzanne Summers. Big Tits McBlunt.
I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, not the chick that was in the porno mag, who I also recognize because she was in a lot of stuff.
I've never thought
she was in a ton of stuff.
Tube tops are amazing.
Oh, tube tops. Not on dudes though.
I didn't know that women in the 70s and tube tops were rocking.
Awesome show. I enjoyed watching this show. I think I got hornier watching The Love Boat than I did watching the Dallas Cowboys show because Suzanne Summers is young with gigantic bazoombas marching around. And then you find out she has two kids. Again, thanks. Give me a trigger warning for my boner, please, when you show her two little kids at the end of the episode.
Well, let's flash into the trigger warning. It's weird that at the end she goes off the cruise, gets the kids. There's no who brought the kids to that terminal.
Just left them at the airport.
Yeah.
just left them at the terminal.
Yeah. You just give them a backpack and say, "Here's 18 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I'll be back in a week."
Exactly. They give them a fishing pole. Like, hey, the ocean's right there, kids. Figure it out. You teach a kid to fish. He feeds himself for a lifetime.
It was wonderful.
Exactly.
So that was one plot, is the captain. And then the other plot is this super hot. I mean, maybe one of the hottest black chicks I've seen in my entire life.
I would agree with that.
God, like a smoke show black chick is somehow going on this cruise to get away from her live-in boyfriend who will not propose to her, though she desperately wants him to, who is, what's his name again?
Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker, one of the ugliest men in the world, who is, and I love this part.
I disagree. He's
he is in a beat to shit bug killing van that reads hired killer on the side of the van and on his t-shirt, which by the way, as a black man, apparently you could get away with in the 70s. I don't think you could get away with that in 2024 without being shot. And I don't even believe that black people get shot in an inordinate rate, but I think you probably would not get away with it. But he's dating this hot chick.
His van was like the Scooby Mobile, whatever they call that. The Mystery Machine.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. I'm like, the shirt was awesome.
The shirt was awesome.
I would love to get that shirt.
We should make it. We should make a first episode podcast original shirt from the Love Boat, hired killer, the bug in the fucking Target.
It's a good show.
Awesome. So it was so funny though. He pulls up. Yeah. What? Oh, you're insane, Rico. So yeah, but he pulls up the mystery mobile, Jimmy Walker, and instead of yelling dynamite, he gets on the boat, and this chick wants nothing. She's like, "You won't marry me. I'm mad at you." And again, what he brings to the table, I don't know. He is a ugly bug exterminator in a beat to shit van. But instead of yelling dynamite, he shows up on the boat and he gives her a kiss and he goes, Shazam! And I was like, oh, I'm in. From 30 seconds into the show, I was in.
Did we establish or find out where the boat left from? What port? and also
I
where
guess-
they live.
I don't know. He did a
Because
lot
he
of-
was driving all around Mexico. Because one of the stops was in Puerto Vallarta. And I'm like,
pretty far.
they clearly don't live in or in Mexico. So wherever the fuck he lives, he drove to Puerto Vallarta in that
Long
van,
Beach.
and then he went to another place where his van broke down. He went to like 4 places. He must have spent so much money on gas.
If you're
well,
look,
I guess it was cheaper back then.
if you have, it was way cheaper back then. If you have a gorgeous top 10 black woman I've ever seen in my life, piece like that living with you, and you're a bug exterminator, there's nowhere you wouldn't drive. Alaska, Antarctica. You drive there. You find a way. You put that fucking piece of shit van on floats. You figure it out. Get it on an ice flow. But
He wants to keep his options open.
yeah, yeah. Well, that was ridiculous. Yeah. So half the plot's him wanting to win his girlfriend back, but not wanting to commit to her. Meanwhile, at the end of the day, he's going to commit to her. So, big win. Everybody, happy ending. She gets to marry the poor bug exterminator. Good job. Happy ending. The Disney princess story. But he's following her around.
It is kind of the current model of the Disney princesses.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she's on the big cruise with the patriarchy and all the fun stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
the little guy is gonna win me.
Yeah. But also, what also I was thinking, though? There's like every one of these old shows we watch, we are told to this day, these shows are now, by the way, it's 2024. This show is 50 years old, right?
Yeah.
Guess what I see in every single one of these shows? Ample black representation.
Yes.
And people getting along.
Yep, getting along. They're not in as maids. They're not in as slaves. This chick is just a hot black chick on a fucking cruise, hanging out with Suzanne Summers, being gorgeous and fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What the fuck are we talking about?
Well,
Your
here's
representation's been here the whole time. Black people are 12% of the population. What are we talking about? It's been there the whole time. This is ridiculous.
This
Well,
is
we can't really say that math
No.
was
this episode.
They had a black doctor.
I know they did, but
that was just they probably didn't call him. What do they?
This episode was a kind of like a
He was
first
represented.
wave. This is a first wave feminism strength episode because the end of it was the guy that wanted to not be married to the girl. At the end of it, he wanted to be married to her, and then she didn't want to be married to him. And then she says, "Oh, maybe my freedoms are this and that and the other thing." And this was kind of a weird political show, if in the sense that.
Yep. It's like the same people that created the Love Boat created the West Wing, so.
Yeah, and so in this show, women are not supposed to want to be married. The guy that wants to marry them is weird, and then all of a sudden they do want to get. They did want to. Now they don't want to get married because a hottie like Suzanne.
How much acid did you do before the show?
What
I
the
want
fuck
to know.
are you
This
talking
is
about?
dope. You have how much acid? I did the same amount of acid as you guys did.
It's the same amount as usual.
Yeah,
6 tabs.
You gotta look at it from the time that it's happening and to where they're and like these weird messages that they're sending. Like the woman's like, "Oh, I want my freedoms. I don't want to be married to you." And
Yeah, that's what they were thinking when they wrote the show.
yeah, this is
100%.
a weird like feminist movement show.
Okay, Don. If this is a weird feminist movement show, then explain to me the scene at the end with the captain, because his bitch ex-wife has been making everybody's lives miserable.
Yeah.
The show literally ends with him going up and going, "Hey, I'm the captain. I should have said this all along. Shut up and go to your room."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, I never." And then her husband goes, "Do you have anything to say about this?" And he goes, "Shut up and go to your room."
All right.
Another win for feminism.
All right. We're in the 70s. We're in the late 70s. Feminism.
I mean, they're lucky they didn't get slapped by Burt Reynolds, if we're being fair. It would have been great. It'd be great if Burt Reynolds just had a cameo, comes in and slaps her like he did in the beginning of every single movie he was in the 70s.
I'll submit this idea to you that show was designed during the time that feminism is coming through. And that's why there's a lot of women positive stuff when they're talking about we didn't even talk on the Kitten magazine.
Oh no, we did. We're gonna circle back to that because that's my favorite part. We talked about that when you were not on yet. We talked about it a little bit.
I want to mention the fact that
weird stuff, or not weird stuff, but like there's a girl on the ship that has posed for a magazine.
Yeah, Kitten magazine. She was dating a senator.
There's a woman that doesn't want to get married, that wants to get married, that all of a sudden doesn't want to get married. Right? So look at all these little things. So you've got
she still wants to get married. The guy doesn't want to marry her.
Right. So you've got a porno woman on the show, on the ship. You've got a woman who's
trying to hide the fact so she's not independent.
Yeah.
She's
right. Yeah, it was a different time before the internet. So you could and the concept here was to gather. She gathered up that she's like, do you sell this porno mag? All right, well, okay, finish your point because I really need to talk about this porno mag sequence because it's amazing. It's my favorite part of the episode.
The feminism of the first wave is very apparent, right? With the different women characters that are doing their different things.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
In a way, yes. Okay. In a way, yes.
Shows in a way that are
they weren't all. Well, yeah, the women weren't all relegated to being maids and servants. The one chick on the show was like it's not like they were doctors yet, because I mean, come on, what?
This show was
who
from
are we kidding?
The late 70s.
You can't have a female doctor at sea. Then what happens when she's retarded? What are you going to do? You can't go back to port.
You have women that are actively trying to hook up with dudes on the show. Yeah,
not on the Love Boat.
This is the point of the show. It was like very racist. It's the Love Boat, man.
Yes, it was.
I want to submit this clip for Don to do a TED Talk on feminism and the Love Boat. I think it would be the best TED Talk ever.
Are we just talking about the dumb shows? We're not supposed to talk about how they influence the culture?
No, you can. I mean, it's just you may just not be right.
Oh, okay.
You may be on a.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right that there is at the time it was written, yeah, there's a definite feminist streak in it, and it was women's lib. It was like feminism, like hey, we're ladies. And it was like the mom. You find out Suzanne Summers and her big knockers has 2 kids, and she was out being like a single mom on a cruise who abandoned her children. Yeah, that's it's your first rate feminism. Good.
That's what I'm.
But.
It was odd at the end of the show when she shows up to the airport or the boat port.
The dock, yeah.
Show up and there's no human that brought the kids there. It was very odd.
It was a virgin birth.
Yeah, it's like
both of them. That was Jesus and Jesus and Lady Jesus.
It was very. It's an interesting show.
I loved it, but let's talk about the porno scene because that was fantastic. So. 2 things. I want to talk about the porno plot, which was amazing, and I want to talk about the doctor having the best lines in the show. So the porno plot was that this chick shows up. She's a hottie McTottie. You would recognize her. Let me see. Love Boat pilot, because people would recognize this this chick. Let me look up her name. But. She is concerned because she posed for a porno mag, but she has no problem going up just randomly. And she's like, to like the chick that works on the boat, she's like, so I posed for a picture. And she's like, okay. And she's like, no, a picture. And the girl's like, oh. And I immediately wrote my notes. Oh, she's going to get all the porno mags. And sure as shit, that's exactly what she did. I don't know like what level of tip you have to give to people. I'm sure this chick tipped nothing. But as we know from watching shows like Below Deck, you should really tip highly, especially if your job is now to go and collect all the porno magazines that apparently the magazine rack on the ship is stocked with at like 6 a.m. And we find out that this girl is going to go. She doesn't want her congressman boyfriend to find out she posed nude in Kitten magazine in the centerfold. And this chick is like, I will go and get all the porno magazines as soon as the stand opens. Spoiler, somehow she doesn't. Somehow porn addicted freaks have beaten her to the punch.
Well, no, you missed a
Oh, did I
great
miss something?
scene. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So when she's talking to the girl on the boat who works there, she's like, "What time does it open?" "Oh, it opens at 8 a.m." So she has like one of those basically old school dial alarm clocks that goes off at 10, right when the girl is knocking on her door. So you have to wonder, why did you set your alarm clock for 10 o'clock when you know the store opens at 8?
Yeah.
That seemed to be pretty stupid.
Well, and also, and again, but who are these fucking people that are like, well, better get to the news to get my jerk material real fast. I mean, it's what do you get it there at 9:30 in the morning? You figure they're going to sell out? All right, so here's Meredith Baxter. That's the chick that supposedly posed. There she is. There's old Meredith. So she's recognizable. You've seen her a bunch of crap. Yeah. So yeah, she runs around and then it's a porno hunt. She runs around the boat because there's 3 copies that have not been picked up by the girl, whatever. I don't even know what you call it, a stewardess or whatever. So she's hunting them down. But this is what we were talking about earlier. The first copy, a guy is just sitting poolside looking at a porno mag, just flipping through, looking at he flips over on his back like he's about to get a happy ending and opens the centerfold poolside of a porno magazine. Who the fuck does this?
I love that.
Maybe that's how the 70s were. We just don't know.
Yeah, the idea that you could just be watching or looking at porn is wonderful.
Yeah, and then the next one she finds is a guy with a big fat guy with a cigar. Again, not in his room, but just deck side, looking at the centerfold of a porno magazine out in the open on the side of a boat. People walking by him, just chilling, looking at a porno magazine, and which she lights on fire. And somehow, even though she lit the bottom of it with a lighter, it catches on fire immediately and apparently burns the entire magazine up within seconds. Expert plan.
That was a fun storyline. That she goes, I'm going to find all the porn I'm in and on the boat and get rid of it.
I would watch a show. I would watch a reality show that was like an older, like a chick was about to get married, hunting down porno pictures of herself in magazines. If that was a thing, I would watch that show. That sounds awesome. Porn Hunter.
I think that show probably exists in many forms already.
Although, you know what I'd call it? Erase My Tits. Although that's probably be confused with like a trans show.
Good one.
And then the final porno magazine, as we discussed very early in the show, the doctor has just in his office, just like face down. He's like, "Oh, you have a cold? Come in and let me check you out." Porno magazine just face down on his desk. He's like, "Let me examine you." And then he had, again, doctor of the greatest lines. He examines her. She pretends to cough and steals the centerfold of her nude body out of the magazine and then sticks it under her ass. And he feels her forehead and he's like, "Oh, you don't have a fever and your heart seems fine." He's like, "Oh, you do look a little bit flushed. I think you might be suffering from embarrassment and overexposure." So clearly he's already jerked off to it. And he's just letting her know. And then he gives her the greatest, worst speech of all time, which is that she should be proud that she was in the centerfold. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. But that she should own it and be like, "Hey, boyfriend, looky here." Which, I'm not a prude, but if my wife was like, "Guess what? Look at the centerfold of me spreading my cooch," I'd be like, "I am unhappy about this," to put it subtly. You can't see my rage, but I'm not happy about this.
You wouldn't pull a copy out of your locked briefcase?
I mean, I might.
I knew all along.
If anything, if my wife was if I saw porno magazines I was flipping through and I saw a picture of my wife, again, I would need a trigger warning because, now it's uncomfortable. Like, talk about a way to ruin your porno magazine flipping experience if there's just your wife in the middle. You're like, fucking hell. Come on now. Even and my wife's hot. She's gorgeous. But ruins it. Ruins the experience. You can't have that.
You say, I'm the guy. I'm married to the woman other men can only dream of.
Dream of spunking all over.
Yeah.
All I imagine, I know, and look, there's a sound argument to be made for that. I don't get jealous when people look at my wife in public. I'm sure you don't either, Rico. But, you know.
I'm not married, so, you know.
Oh, yeah, your girlfriend. But, same thing, Don. You know, people look appreciatively. That's a compliment and an amazing thing. But I would be uncomfortable with the fact that I know that people are just dropping loads all the time. And knowing that if they see her in public now, they're like, oh, there's that girl that I've dropped 8 loads. Clogged my shower to that, your wife. And like, cool.
No one
cool.
will tell the girl how many.
Is this a normal amount of time that you've talked about dropping loads in an episode? Because I feel like even by your standards, this is kind of high.
It may be inordinate.
It's like
It might be.
20 plus.
It's
Well,
the
it's the
We're
scenario
talking about
we're
the
talking
love
about.
boat and cheerleaders.
I don't think I
That's what-
said dropping loads
gets
in
them.
regards to the cheerleaders.
Oh, you did. Go back
Did
and
I?
listen. We probably need like a load counter on this.
Load count? Oh, that'd be great if we had a little we had a little dick and I could click it and it would drop a load onto the top of my head.
I didn't mean like that, but
It would
kind
Oh,
of
we
running
get an
counter.
animation. Yeah, we got an animation made.
Wonderful.
Dick it, click it.
We'll fix it in dick it and click it. We'll fix it in post. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. I don't have anything else to say about it. I loved it. I thought it was highly entertaining. Oh, the other doctor's funny line. The captain is talking about his horrible bitch ex-wife who's making everybody's lives miserable. And he's talking to the doctor and he goes, oh, you know, she was ugly. He's like, oh, I had an affair. A beautiful songstress I couldn't ignore. You know, huge. And the doctor goes, I like the big ones too. And he goes, no, the ocean. I'll start with the ocean. He goes, oh.
That was fucking funny.
That's a great line. He delivered it perfectly too. I'm telling you, this show it moved along at a good enough pace. It was fun, funny. I may watch more Love Boat. It's on Pluto TV. I may just watch it. I may be like to Don's point. I may put it on in the background while I'm doing this stuff. But unlike Don, I'm not going to do puzzles during it.
I'll send you a puzzle.
I've got many children's puzzles. Don't worry, I can.
Yeah,
And you know what? I'm great
it'll be
at
more
them.
than 10 pieces.
All right. Well, I might not be as good at those, but go ahead. Send it to me. All right. What's your?
I'm not sending you anything. I have no ability to send anything to anybody.
Were your Amazon privileges revoked?
I just figured hearing his commentary tonight, I'm not surprised by that.
That's good stuff.
All right. So what do you give
a
this?
a room with rubber walls all day.
It's like he's literally doing the podcast from an insane asylum.
Yeah.
It's just the show's on a little tiny TV in the corner.
I'm allowed 1 hour a week.
All right, well then we have to do 2 half-hour shows next week. I didn't even think about what shows to do for next week. All right, so give it your go ahead. Give grades first, then you tell us what the shows for next week could be.
Okay, well I give it a C plus. I was kind of bored at the start. It got better. I was mildly amused. Not really amused enough to want to keep watching it. Although I was looking up guest stars, other people they have, and they have Ted McGinley, who I love, obviously from his Married with Children days.
What about Leslie Nielsen? He's going to be on it. Leslie Nielsen.
I might have to watch him then.
Yeah,
because I do. So, but I was confused. So, is this like? Do they have just different? Each episode is like a different cruise with different.
Different guest stars. Yeah, different guest stars. It's the same core. It's the same core. Like Isaac's always going to be there, the black bartender, and he didn't really have a big part in this one. I think he gets a bigger role as it goes along because everybody remembers. Like, if you asked me to name one character from the show I knew about before watching it, Isaac was a character. But and is Captain Stubing.
I remember the Isaac and the Captain Scoobing.
Yeah. So Isaac must get a bigger role as it goes along because he didn't have a very big role in the first pilot.
So I learned 2 things. One, I didn't know they had cruises in the 70s. I thought it was just like little boats that you would go out for an hour or two. I didn't know they had cruise ships. I thought they were invented in the 90s.
No,
So
they did a lot.
They had airplanes, Rico. You could smoke on them, and they had full meals. They didn't wear ties.
Unbelievable.
I guess
Unbelievable.
Rico wants Gilligan's Island to be.
That's what I thought it was. And I also finally knew what the Ace Ventura reference when he's talking about Captain Stubing when he jumps in the tank. I never knew what that was about. And he's like, Howard, go for a dock. I'm like, who are these people? I never knew it. And now I know.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Captain Stubing, meanest line in the whole episode, his bitch wife saying she hates a sweaty forehead on a bald man. Just mean. Yeah. Cut me to the core.
That's every bald man's forehead.
That's every person's forehead. What does it matter if it's bald or not? All right, what do you give it, Don?
I think it's interesting the way that they have the current crew, right? Like the show has their regular staff, if you will, but then it seems like they're going to keep weaving in guest characters, which could be cool, but I'm not going to watch it again. So it can get a D.
You'll watch. So of this interesting plotted
D?
show that are you? Oh my God, Don. Oh, I can't wait to see you in October. I'll punch you right in the face.
It was terrible. It was hard to watch. It wasn't fun.
Ridiculous. Nope. These people are morons. Listen to me. These people are morons. It is entertaining as shit. It is prime classic 70s cheese. It moves along well. The chicks are hot. It's got some funny lines in it. It's goofy, fun entertainment. I give it a B+.
The last track is flavor.
I didn't shit all over
terrible.
No, you didn't shit over it. Don say the D.
Keeping grades.
Don watched 6 episodes of fucking American Sweethearts, and he gives The Love Boat a D.
I love everything, and I thought this was silly. I wouldn't watch it again.
Maybe you thought too deep about the feminism origins and
clearly
and fucking
Don's such a fan of the patriarchy. He's like this goddamn
eggs that they were dropping in.
He's like this goddamn feminist bullshit show.
I'm gonna watch a show that's fakely political. That's telling me how women are supposed to feel in the 70s.
That's every show ever made, by the way.
I like the other one.
Except the Golden Girls, which again we all agree A+. Golden Girls amazing. A+ across the board A+.
Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, so my wife was watching Golden Girls in the bed, right? And I was up watching something else. I go to bed and I lay down just in time for Blanche to talk to Dorothy. You know, Blanche is like the hot one and Dorothy is the old curmudgeonly one. Yeah. And Blanche, she lays down and she's like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Men just are so attracted to me. Maybe you should have talked to him, Dorothy, because she had kissed a guy that Rose was interested in. And she's like, maybe you should have talked to him, Dorothy. And Dorothy was like, oh, no, I should have talked to him. We don't want him to lose all sexual interest in women at all times or something like that. It was so funny because she was leading into the fact that she was being labeled as ugly. But she's like, we don't want to kill his sex drive for the rest of time.
Well,
God,
she did know how to take a joke.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, my God, man. Oh, it took the joke and added to it. Golden Girls, one of the best written shows of all time.
Yeah.
That's why my opinion about the other show was it seemed like they were so interested in promoting the first wave of feminism in the 70s and doing all this nonsense. The way that they made the one girl who wanted to be married and then I'm not wanting to be married.
Oh, God, don't go into this again, Don. This is the third time. Don't go into it again.
All right.
You almost killed Rico. All right, Rico, what are we watching next? This is a long episode. What are we watching next week?
Well, I'm trying to have some ideas about the political philosophies and twists and turns of society in the 80s, and I was thinking, who's the boss? But
Angela! Let's do it.
Perfect Stranger, something like that.
Yo,
both good.
Angel.
Both amazing suggestions. I'm in for either one. Which one? Pick one of them.
Me?
You picked this week's show. Oh no. I picked The Love Boat. Go ahead. You picked the old show.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
good.
I want to see. I don't think I ever watched it actually. Who's the boss?
Oh, all right. All right, let's do Who's the Boss. Who's the Boss next episode? Don, you had listed off a few newer shows. Any of those newer shows you thought of go well with Who's the Boss?
That's a tough one. No.
Well, maybe we'll save it. We'll save it for a surprise. I think it's more important to announce the older show because people know those more, and we'll figure out the newer shows because there's new shows coming out every week, guys. That's the beauty of this podcast. It's the first episode podcast. Make sure, please, subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit a like. It would be great if you could subscribe to the podcast. Those of you watching, listening, subscribe. It would help us immensely because the show's still young. This is our 15th episode. If you can write a review on iTunes, on Spotify, that would be awesome. It really does help grow the show. And yeah, we think it's fun. I think people think it's fun, except Don, because of first.
Don overthinks apparently when he's lost his marijuana.
Yeah, I really,
Rabbit
I got way too crazy with it. My apologies.
I want Don to start a Reddit page about Love Boat and feminism. See how many people you can get.
Yeah, really. I was like, wow, but they're really pushing this down my throat.
They didn't push it down my throat. I didn't notice it.
I didn't pick up about it in any way. I was like organically like, okay. And the only thing that threw me off was when it was like, oh, she's a single mom who abandoned her children to be on the boat. I was like, all right, well, whatever. She had fun.
Well,
You don't have to be from the
country,
70s.
I just got to this country like 40 years ago, so it's fine.
All right. Don, do you want to give us your final thoughts as we wrap it up? Oh wait, what? You already give it a grade? Yeah, good. All right, Don, final thoughts.
Go Birds.
It was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!